I'm Dr. Ryan DeBell from The Movement Fix. This is Movement Fix Monday. What we're going to talk about this week is fixing the biggest mistake that I see in strict pull-ups. Now, a lot of people do kipping pull-ups. That's fine. That's a whole different topic. But I think a lot of people would get benefit from doing more strict pull-ups. However, in the strict pull-ups, there is one major issue that happens that I think we can address to help people's strict pull-ups be much better. And what that is when somebody goes to pull a strict pull-up, they're really not doing it so strict, because what they end up doing is they pull and they lean backwards like this, which kind of by definition isn't strict because they're not strictly holding themselves. So, for example, if I take my spine, imagine it had arms and it attached itself to the pull-up bar. A strict pull-up, the spine really wouldn't move within itself. But in these people, in this kind of case that I'm talking about, the number one mistake that people make is they pull up and then they arch their low back as they kind of pull up. So they get this motion through their back repetitively as they do these strict pull-ups, which it's probably not a huge deal, but it kind of gets away from the idea of what we're trying to get in the strict pull-up, which is strict strength. Now, when you do this in the strict pull-up, when you do it the correct way, what you're doing is attaching your rib cage to your pelvis. So you're not changing the orientation of your ribs from your pelvis, which would really be like back arching. So let me show you on me, I'll show you the correct way first, and then I'll show you the way that I see as an issue for people. Now, granted, I'm kind of tall and this is a little bit short, so my feet aren't going to be perfectly straight, but we'll do the best with what we got here. So this would be kind of the correct way. I'd be here, I'd have my ribs and pelvis oriented, and then I would pull up and then come back down. So there's not motion that's happening within the back. Now let me show you the mistake way that I see a ton, and that is the person will be here and then they'll pull like this and really arch to get up there. And you're doing things a little bit differently than for what you're trying to get out of the strict pull-up. So let me show you a couple of pointers on how to address this. Now, number one, maybe the athlete or maybe you are just not aware that you should be holding your rib cage onto your pelvis. The way you can do that and just correct it if you have the strength, because this takes a lot of strength to do it, which is why I think it happens. But if you hold here and then you kind of crunch yourself into this position and then hold the crunch as you come up, that can be one way to just cue yourself to do it. It's interesting. You're actually making a stronger anchoring point for your lats when you crunch down like this, because the lats attach into the low back, and they're one of the big muscles responsible for doing a strict pull-up. If you let yourself arch like this, you're putting the lat in a shortened position, so maybe it actually won't pull as strong. But you have to be strong in the anterior chain muscles to make this happen. So if you can lock the ribs down onto the pelvis, you have a more solid anchoring point for the lats to actually pull with during a strict pull-up. So if you're not strong enough, if it's a strength issue, you can just work on the negatives of doing this. So I would just hop up, get into this position, lock it down, and then lower yourself without giving it up through here. So that can be one way to strengthen that up. Another way would be you may just need to do some generalized anterior chain strengthening. Planks, those types of things may be required in order to build up the strength to do the strict pull-up and kind of maintain the integrity through your spine and from the rib cage to the pelvis. So that is the number one mistake that I've been seeing in people's strict pull-ups. So it may just be a fact that people aren't knowing that they need to attach it in there. It may be a coordination thing, or it may be a strength issue. So you have to give the person the correct thing at the correct time so they can actually address this issue. So that's what I got for you guys for this week on Movement Fix Monday. If you don't already follow the Facebook page, make sure to go to facebook.com/The Movement Fix. You can also find me on Instagram @The Movement Fix. I will see you guys next week.